Hello and welcome to episode 3 of McDuffie Minute, your favorite podcast that covers all McDuffie County governments, bringing you everything you need to know about Thomson, Daring, the county, the school system, and all points between. I'm your host, Christopher Wells.
And I'm Jason Smith. Today's episode is all about family fun, live entertainment, games, craft vendors, and fabulous food. So of course that means Thomson-McDuffie Chamber of Commerce Director Debbie Jones is joining us to discuss the upcoming Camellia City Festival. It takes place Saturday, October 22nd. Welcome to the podcast, Debbie, and joining her today is Chamber Chairman David Russell. So let's get started and talk a little bit about the festival, how it got started, and what you're planning for this year.
Well, thank you for having us both on here. And Jason, you can kind of assist me with this because you were there in the early stages of the Festival Off Main, which was actually the Christmas festival that we had on Main Street, Railroad Street, actually. And so, basically this was an opportunity for vendors to come in and sell items for Christmas early on and just to build that Christmas spirit in the community. So that was, tell me, how many years ago?
So that was back when I was at the Myriad, so that would have been 2005, 2006, somewhere along in there. And it was a group of downtown folks that started it. We just had an idea one day, let's do a festival. And we got a group together. And, at that time, the government center wasn't even here. And there were businesses along. And John Bell was super involved in it.
Yeah, I remember that.
There was just a group of us that came together and wanted to do this festival, and the first year was really successful, and it kind of just grew from there.
Yep, and then we took some time off. I think there were several other festivals going on around that time. But last year we had the idea of celebrating our 150th anniversary, doing it in October, and we thought this would be a great opportunity to change things up. We put it on a date that wasn't during a University of Georgia game, so a football game. So we figured, all right, we'll get some people in. And I can't remember the actual date, but anyway, it was back in October, and we turned it into a fall festival. Mm-hmm. We had a bunch of activities going on. I think we did the proclamation for McDuffie County, had tons of people coming out. We actually did fireworks, too. And it was just such a great event, and we thought the weather's wonderful this time of year. Let's continue and keep it in the fall. So we did it, and it's October 22nd, and we're going to have it from 10 a.m. till 5 p.m. with lots of activities going on.
So talk to us a little bit about some of those activities. If you have spaces for vendors, I know last year there were vendors filling up the street and the courtyard. So talk to us a little bit about how to get involved for that and what people can expect.
Well, we've got plenty of opportunities for different types of craft vendors and food vendors. And what we'll do is set up in front of the courtyard of the McDuffie government complex. And, we'll have over 100 vendors for people to come out. And lots of really cool items will be out there. From wreaths to woodwork to paintings to just about anything. I think we had, a cakewalk out there. But we'll have also the fire department brought out their fire safety house where the kids could go through it. Georgia DNR brought out the different animals, the Georgia species, I guess, and then had a blow-up archery set. That was really cool.
Oh, so that sounds cool.
Yeah. And then we have, the kid land over there where there's tons of slides and bounce houses. So lots to do.
Yeah, my daughter's super excited about the archery part of it. And I really and truly, I don't trust her with a regular archery set. So I think blow up will probably be right up her alley.
Oh, you ought to see all the adults get over there with it.
That makes sense. Now, so along those lines, because there has been the revitalization of Railroad Street, the reworking of Railroad Street,
yeah.
And that the businesses located along that. How are you involving those businesses in this event? And what's your goal for this year?
As far as the number of vendors?
Well, just in
or
general.
just in general of bringing
so
people to our downtown area?
Right.
Yeah. So the whole point, and I think, Jason, you can remember when we started this, was, trying to get people to come to our downtown area and to shop our local retail and restaurants. And that's where we're at again with this. And, the more people that we can draw to the area, it's going to definitely help out our small businesses. And that's really where the chamber is, trying to put forth a lot of effort, is to look after our small businesses in the area. So that's one of the driving forces of why we get so involved with this. And I will say, even though we're kind of part of the Camellia City Festival recruitment for vendors and all, this is a community-wide event. It's taken a lot of different volunteers to come to the picture and help out. And I'll say, between the fire department, the Thompson Family Y, the government leaders, and I'm sure I'm leaving out several people, but this is a big festival, and it takes a lot of community volunteers to make it happen. So we're just happy to be a part of the process because it means a lot to what our mission is.
Sure. So if somebody is a vendor and wants to get involved, how do they get involved?
They can call us at the chamber, and we'll sign them up. But we also have it on our website, Thomson-McDuffieChamber.com. You'll see a big banner across the front on our homepage, and just click on that, and it'll take you to an application you can fill out.
And there's obviously no charge to residents that show up and participate, but there's plenty of vendors. So
yeah. So as far as vendor fees, they're very, very affordable compared to what we're noticing all around. But if you're a chamber member, the vendor fee is free. So that's a huge plus for being a chamber member.
Absolutely.
Because your starting fee to be a craft vendor is $65, and then of course being a food vendor is up to $75. So if you're a chamber member, come on down.
That's awesome.
So we've talked a little bit about your vendors at the festival. Can you tell us what else is going on? What other events you may have going on?
So we've got a car show that we're going to have. And Chase Beggs is actually helping with that. So if you're interested in putting in a antique car, get in touch with Chase. And the Thompson Family Y is hosting the 5K family fun race that morning. So that will start, I want to say, at 9 in the morning. So if you're interested in being a part of that, definitely call the Family Y. But yeah, so it's going to be a fun day. That's a good way to kickstart your morning, is go out for a family fun run, walk, however you want to do it.
I'll be honest, that's words I've never put together. It's fun and run.
Fun run.
Yeah, that's why God made cars. I don't have to run and have a heart attack halfway through.
Well, I will tell you this. Also, we have live entertainment throughout the day. So starting off at noon, we're going to have the Henrys, which is an acoustic string band that will be playing. And then following them will be a band called Swing Shift, which is kind of an oldies, beach music, Motown vibe. And then later on at 3 o'clock, we're going to have the Tony Howard Band. I don't know if y'all have heard them before, but everybody that I've talked to that has heard them is super excited. They say they are fabulous, and it's more of a soul and R&B band. So yeah, gonna have some great entertainment come out, and so come shop, bring you a bag chair or a blanket, and sit on the lawn and listen to some good music.
Yeah, while the music's playing, you can also now enjoy an alcoholic beverage in the downtown district. Jason, I think there have been some changes made recently to some of that regulation.
Yeah, so the city of Thompson rolled out in what they call the downtown dining district, and it's pretty much the area right around us in the government center, that will allow you to have to-go cups. It's got to be a clear cup. I think it's either 12 or 16 ounces. And you can purchase it from restaurants and leave. And the original setup of the law was that for every event that was city, county, chamber, governmental associated, that you could come and make a request, and the city council would approve it and go from there. Well, there ended up being several requests coming, kind of a little tidal wave of requests. So they ended up just putting it in place. And so now, as of the middle of August, the city will allow to-go cups. You can have two. It's beer and wine. It's not mixed drinks. It's beer or wine, and you have to consume them in the downtown dining district. So for festivals like this, it's nice. You can go get a beer or a wine and go enjoy it on the green space we have and listen to some cool music and just kind of hang out. It's kind of that Savannah vibe that we're looking for. The other side of that is we've talked about the internally and externally. So we've talked about the park that'll eventually go next and putting in a water feature there, trying just like the chamber, trying just to get more people downtown and get them involved and give them a reason to come here, make our downtown a destination.
Yeah. And like you said, that Savannah downtown feeling, same with Thompson. Go into a restaurant. They know that if you're wanting to walk around downtown, they'll give you a cup, fill it up. Just don't leave the area.
And please don't drive.
Please.
Hopefully doesn't need to be said, but sometimes you have to say it.
So it sounds like a lot of great events going on during that day. Can you tell us a little bit about how that's going to be funded?
Yeah, so thankfully we have some generous contributors, and I do want to give them a shout out. So thanks to Two State Construction, W&E Engineering, Activities Council of Thompson, First Baptist Church of Thompson, Jefferson Energy and Cadence Bank, Augusta Coating and Manufacturing, Carter and Sloop, Georgia Power, Regions Bank, and Thompson Plastics. They all came through big time, and without them, we wouldn't be able to have a lot of these activities. So big kudos to that.
I did want to ask about what you think about the ability of the chamber to have an event like this that brings the whole community out. Tell us about some of the positives that can come out of that.
Well, one of the things I think, we've noticed is when you get more involvement from the community, you build a lot more confidence in the area and people get more excited. Usually when you see some excitement going on, and especially in your downtown area, people hear about that in surrounding counties and they want to know what's going on and they want to be a part of it. So that's one of the pluses that we like.
And add one thing to that too, something that we talked about in our board retreat and in several board meetings is, trying to use the events as a mechanism to get the word out about some of the other things that the chamber does and that the community does and opportunities that are being provided. So one thing I know that I'm hoping we can do is make some announcements or hand out some flyers for things like our Leadership McDuffie classes and things of that nature where you may not have even heard about it somehow. And I'm so happy to be doing things like this podcast where we're reaching, if it's just one more person that gets involved, that kind of thing compounds. And so I think that's another really good opportunity for the festival is just spread the word about the good things that the community's doing. So,
well, that's a perfect transition to the next section here. We talked a little bit about the event, and that was kind of the goal here to start with, but so many people think of the chamber as just an organization that does events. You do at business after hours here, you do this, that, and that. But I know that over the years, the role and the goal of the chamber has evolved. Kind of talk about that, and you talked a little bit about it with leadership. But I know there's a myriad other programs you have. Let's talk a little bit about those and what the goal of the chamber, the role of the chamber in the community is, and how that role has changed over the years.
I'm going to tag team with David on this one. There's several different facets that I would say there's buckets that we place a lot of importance on. One being workforce development, the other one leadership development, and then advocacy. And I know David's played a lot in that role as far as advocacy is concerned. One of the things that we do with our board of directors, especially when they go into an officer role, is they really focus in on the government affairs side and learn, how can we be that voice for our businesses and how can we make sure that a lot of our issues that are important to our businesses are being heard by our elected leaders, not just local, but state and federal.
Yeah. How many members do we have, Debbie?
Close to 400.
So when we're a 400 member organization, that really carries some weight, especially when we're talking to local and state elected officials and really trying to get our points across and our needs from the community. So I think that's part of the chamber membership that people maybe don't quite take quite as much advantage of as they should, is saying, okay, I'm in manufacturing, I'm in healthcare. What can this organization do to help me improve some of my biggest roadblocks, especially from a government or regulatory standpoint, something that actually can get done. And so that's something that we've really focused on, is how do we kind of build that force up and keep driving it and doing a good job. I mean, I was in Atlanta this weekend and I saw one of our elected state officials, and he knew me by name, and I, asked him how he's doing and told him I need him to come see me. And that it helped that I'm involved in the government affairs committee, and that he sees me once a month, or, so.
And that's pretty awesome when you can be a part of an organization like this, where if you're not an elected official, it's hard to come by those that are in those state leadership roles. So when you're involved in government affairs, I mean, any chamber member can be a part of government affairs.
Exactly. Anyone. I mean, so just let us know if you want to be a part of that. It's a Zoom meeting, and so they see your face if you want to. So very, very recognizable.
Mm-hmm. And part of that is for government affairs. We'll have meetings throughout the year that are, pre-legislative breakfast, post-legislative breakfast, and these are where we have those state leaders and federal leaders come in and just tell us, like, this is what's on the horizon on the House and the Senate floor. This is on the horizon for your community. So, definitely want y'all to consider, when you're a chamber member, these are some avenues that you need to take full advantage of.
And the other quick thing I want to touch on is just all of the other opportunities, both from like Leadership McDuffie and how much that's changed and how value added that has been for my life, and taught me, a lot of different things, and it's gotten me more involved. So there's programs like that, as well as, like our, not really lunch and learns anymore. Help me out here, Debbie.
The Business Builders Breakfast.
The conversations and the topics are very important and very timely. And if you're paying for your chamber membership, you really should consider joining some of these things, because I take away really important pieces of information every time I go to one of those. So
yeah. The other bucket that I had mentioned was workforce development, and this was a program we've had at the chamber for quite some time, but it really needed some revamping, and it took Archway Partnership to come in and kind of get that conversation started. Having that neutral party there really helped. But we had several members from the McDuffie County school system come, and we had several of our industry leaders there, and we sat everybody down at the table, and it was like, okay, these are the issues we're facing in our community. How can we come together to bridge the gap, that talent gap that we're missing here? And so the conversations have started. We've revamped the apprenticeship program, which is now the Jump Start program. And now we've come up with this strategic plan that we used from the Carl Vinson Institute from UGA. So it's just, the chamber is so happy to be a part of that process of connecting members to each other. So I say, we're not the events coordinator. We're what brings different entities together and tries to get the conversation started. But I will say, we kind of hit the ground running with our leadership programs, and we felt like we're doing a great job with Leadership McDuffie since we revamped it and brought in J.W. Fanning Institute from UGA. I mean, it is an awesome program. And then morphed it into what David mentioned with the High Potential Leaders Program, which is basically your master's program of Leadership McDuffie. But we're about to start our new leadership class, and it's Entrepreneurial Leadership Academy. And this is for businesses or potential new businesses that are coming in that are, needing to fine-tune their leadership skills and how to manage their organization or their company. And also, figure out, like, what's my marketing strategy? How do I make a budget? What do I do about a website? And making sure that they're not just coming in blind and creating this job, we've had a couple of applicants that they have like maybe 2 or 3 ideas of a business that they want to start. Well, where the chamber comes in, this is where we get to give them the resources to help them make a decision and decide, is this what's best for them and is this what's best for the community? So we're excited about that.
So, Debbie, as you were talking about your various buckets, I know one of the things you helped fill one of those buckets was a Google-related class recently that was free to chamber members, if I'm not mistaken. And that really intrigued me because that's not something you really expect in smaller towns. How did that come about, and what do you have on the backside of that plan now for other ways to bring those kind of resources to your members, and what's the purpose of that?
Well, I will say for our board of directors of our chamber, they have a lot of exciting ideas about how we can provide the resources and education for all our 400 members. And one of the things is, when COVID hit, we realized that we were not utilizing the online features like we probably should have in the past. And so this opened our eyes, and we felt like webinars, let's get on webinars, let's do Zoom. And we started reaching a lot of those members that probably weren't as active in person as they would be just getting in front of their computer. Some people are just don't care anything about getting out face to face, and we totally get that. But so this was just another avenue that we used. But yeah, the Grow with Google, we did it in partnership with Burke County and Washington County and Outer Banks Chamber out of nowhere. But our representative with Google, Deming Bass, he said, let's just bring them in too. Why not? And Google loves chambers. They love chambers because it's just another way that they can, get their product out there, but also it encourages a lot of networking opportunities amongst us all. So this last one, just showing how to get your business online and visible and going up the ladder, that SEO chart. Everybody wants their business to go, first when you plug in, healthcare. Family care needs to go up there, right? Maybe sure. Right up underneath Piedmont.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. So we just did our first one, and it's going to transition into a deeper dive into how to utilize Google. But I had no idea that Google had so much to offer, and taught me kind of some tricks along the way, and making sure, like, hey, people, when they look at your business, they're going to look at your reviews. Well, get out there and get people to start posting positive reviews about your business. Don't sit around and just have one review on there, and it's probably that one person you made mad. So, there's just a lot of things that I learned on there that I thought, man, our members are really getting a lot of bang for their buck.
What's really great, too, is it's offering the opportunity to learn skills that people can use. And if you're like, if you have an established business, or if you're thinking about starting a business, talking about entrepreneurial leadership class as well, stuff where you can take those skills and start a business in Thomson and stay here and not necessarily have to go chase jobs elsewhere. Or if you're working for another company elsewhere, you can do it remotely from Thomson. So I think it kind of plays back into moving the community forward. These are topics that are very timely and, very useful, and really just help anyone in this community who's trying to start or run a business. So
I know another one of those enhanced value opportunities you have is some of your pre and post work hour events, business after hours, your pre-legislative breakfast. Do you have any of those kind of coming up anytime soon?
Well, we just had our Coffee Connection, which MedNow actually sponsored that one. We try to have them quarterly. So whichever business wants to sponsor that, it's $250 to sponsor it. And your you're basically being put out there, advertised, and people come and, just mix and mingle. It's coffee before you go into work. And it's a great way to start your day. And, for the chamber, it is so fun to sit back and watch the magic happen. All these people that have never met. We've got several coming in from outside the community that have joined, and they just want to get their foot in the door and kind of decide, is this where I want to do business? So it's really cool to watch people networking with one another, and you think, wow, we did that. I love doing these networking events. So the Coffee Connection is great. We're always looking for people to want to host one of those. And then we talked about our Business Builders Breakfast. The last one we had, I think that was the end of July, and we do those quarterly as well. But we brought in a Melissa Furman, Dr. Melissa Furman, and she spoke on generational hiring. And she talked about, is it 4 generations or is it 5 that we have now? I can't remember.
5. That's what we kind of discussed during it. But
yeah, it was 4 or 5, and I know that I'm in the bad generation.
I'm right there with you.
That's what I remember is that I'm the problem generation.
Gen X, right?
Yeah, right. I'm the generation that knows how to do everything and doesn't want to listen to anybody, which is fairly accurate.
Right. And the conversation, she was so energetic, and she was kind of in your face about some of it, and we were all dying laughing, and it was so fun. And those are the kind of educational programs that we like to have, where you just kind of, you're entertained, but you come away with a lot of takeaways from it. So I've had a lot of people contact me after that and said, we really enjoyed that Business Builders Breakfast. So the next one we're going to have, I don't have the date in front of me, but you will see it soon. But we're going to be talking about preparing for 2023. And I've got already lined up, I've got Barmore Hammond that's going to talk about tax trends. And then I've got White Hart Insight is a marketing firm. They're going to come in and talk about some marketing strategies to be on the lookout. So, and then I've got one more speaker I'm still working on, but we'll see.
Awesome.
All right.
Debbie, we've talked a lot to you about your role and what you do, the day-to-day stuff. And I know David's your chairman, but I know it's not just 2 of y'all. Who else is involved on the leadership side of the chamber and some of the activities they participate in?
Yeah, so in addition to Debbie and I, there's a 15-member board of directors, and it's a great group of people who really care about McDuffie County and put their time and effort into making the chamber and the county a better place to live and work. In addition to that, we also have our chamber ambassadors who do a ton of work behind the scenes to really make everything kind of work. Debbie, do you want to say something about that?
Yeah, the chamber ambassadors, I'm so thankful to have them. And those are chamber members that are, can volunteer a little extra time. And this also gets them the foot in the door of these other businesses in the community. But they are the welcoming arm of the chamber. It's me and Belinda at the office. So, with 400 members, we want to make sure that they're getting the information and they're getting the welcome when they come into an event. So they're usually the ones you see at the door. They'll have a little name tag that says that they're an ambassador, but they're also representing their company as well. So, our ambassadors will go out, tell the story of what it means to be a chamber member and why they should get involved. But then that kind of gets the conversation started. So say an ambassador comes to talk to you guys, and then you see that they work for, let's see, Family Care Inc. Well, golly, I didn't realize you work for Family Care Inc. Tell me a little bit about it. So there's huge advantages of being an ambassador. So I love the ambassadors. They're a lot of fun. We'll be having a board retreat with them next month. So anybody that's a chamber member and looking to get more involved and get out there, definitely call the chamber office and let me know, and we'll get you signed up for that retreat and get started, because this is the perfect time to recruit for ambassadors right now.
What's the number to that if people want to get involved?
With the chamber at 706-597-1000. It's pretty easy.
All right.
Yeah.
And can they also maybe email you or?
Yeah. So it's similar to the government, McDuffie County and City of Thomson. So my email is Debbie, DEBBIE.Jones at Thomson-McDuffie.gov. And of course, Belinda's is BELINDA.Campbell, CAMPBELL at Thomson-McDuffie.gov. I know that's a lot. It's a mouthful.
All right. Well, thank you both for sharing all this info about the chamber with us and our listeners. We also want to thank everyone who is listening to the podcast wherever you are.
We know that listening to the podcast is a representation of your interest in our community. And we encourage you to keep looking for ways to get involved and volunteer with groups that help make our area better. And in doing so, your community will become a reflection of you. That's a wrap on this third edition of the McDuffie Minute. When you get a chance, take a minute, and you'll learn more about McDuffie County.